Is now taking the floor. He's just celebrated 35 years of his business being founded, Adam Patient and Company. He's a chartered accountant, he's the treasurer of the chamber and has a huge amount of experience. And he's going to give his personal views on how he sees the state of business finance at the moment. Alan.
Okay, well, good morning everyone, and thank you very much for the introduction, John. It's of concern to all of us to survive COVID-19. It has been said that the economy will shrink by 14% post-COVID, and so we should make sure that we don't become its casualties in the business sense, as the reality is that not all businesses are going to survive. So it's time to take stock of the new normal environment we face. Can we have the next slide? Thank you. Firstly, please see all the various forms of government grants that I now show on the screen, which all predate yesterday's announcements, which I won't spend any time on at the moment as they have already been given significant publicity, and will instead focus on the latest from the Chancellor. However, if you have any inquiries about these, I will answer your questions after the session. You'll need to fully avail yourself of these as they are still all available if you're a business person in Newham. As always in times of crisis, cash is king, meaning that once you have received the government support or loans, you need to use them very wisely and sparingly. In particular, preparation is needed now for the expected spring in business activity as the lockdown eases, as well as make sure that you can weather the storm when larger number of businesses are expected to fail. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yesterday's summer economic update acknowledged that the fabled rainy day has in fact arrived. It was actually a very rainy day yesterday. And this is the second instalment in an emergency support package designed to help the economy to recover, with the third part yet to come in the autumn. The Chancellor actually said that he will do whatever it takes, which is interesting. These new measures fall broadly into further help and support for jobs, local support for social housing decarbonisation and construction generally, support for the hospitality and leisure industries, and making it easier for home buyers to climb the property ladder. As an encouragement to employers to put furloughed staff back on the payroll, the government will give them a £1,000 job retention bonus excuse me, for every employee still employed as of 31st of January next year. This measure was designed to put to rest the fear that mass redundancies will follow when the furlough scheme ends in October. The government will fund employers via a kickstart scheme to pay the national minimum wage for 25 hours a week for 6 months for the 16 to 24-year-olds who have been receiving universal credit. Employers can top this up as they wish, and it is expected to help high demand sectors such as engineering, construction, IT, and social care. Businesses will be paid £2,000 for every new apprentice they take on, provided they're under the age of 25. In addition, the government will invest substantially in a push to provide more job-based training and apprentice programs for young people, including more spending on job centre staff within the National Careers Service to groom youngsters for employment. The government has already earmarked the hospitality and leisure industries, which employ 1.8 million people, as needing a lot more support to survive COVID. Now they will reduce the VAT rate from 20% to 5% for 6 months for all tourism and hospitality related activities. This covers food from restaurants, cafes and pubs, hotels, B&Bs and caravans, and other attractions such as cinemas, theme parks and zoos. In August, restaurants, cafes and pubs will also benefit from a 50% off Eat Out to Help Out discount on sit-down meals, but not takeaways or alcoholic drinks. The discount will be up to a maximum of £10 per head to be recovered by the businesses themselves within 5 days. The stamp duty threshold will be raised temporarily from 125,000 to 50,000, effective immediately until next March. This will save property buyers up to £4,500 per sale, expected to mean that 9 out of 10 buyers will pay no stamp duty at all, and will give a much needed boost in confidence to the housing market, which has seen a slump recently. The government will be providing grants through a voucher scheme for homeowners and landlords to invest in making properties more energy efficient through projects such as loft, wall and floor insulation, as well as double glazing. The incentive to make these improvements will save the householders up to £300 a year, as well as give them an incentive to make the improvement in the first place. And in addition, will help support 140,000 jobs, it's predicted. To introduce money into the economy and the construction industry, they will be spending vast sums on upgrading public sector buildings and making them more fuel efficient. So, hospitals, schools and colleges and other public buildings should benefit. There will also be a road improvement programme. To boost the economy in places that need it the most, a further £1 billion will be spent on other local projects. There was a hint within the Chancellor's speech that when the present crisis is over, that these measures will need to be paid for through higher taxes. I think this means that businesses will need to do the best they can to not only weather the present storm, but become stronger and more profitable as soon as possible, meaning that they will have the resources to help pay the bill when the final day of reckoning arrives. Much of this would help the relaunch of a business post-COVID, but there was nothing yesterday specifically designed to help startup businesses. If you're intending to start or relaunch a business now, there are already tax relief provisions in place designed to help you, rewarding investment in new equipment, etc. However, if you're used to flying by the seat of your pants in business, now would be a good time to invest in a business plan to look in detail at the next 12 months, which will be critical in this environment, meaning that you should involve others around you, reassess your target market and your marketing message to them. Are they local? Do a projection of your income and expenditure, both personal and business, over the next 12 months. Connected to this, do a projecting cash flow statement. This will identify where adjustments are needed and get you thinking in advance of the upcoming challenges, as well as how much money is needed and when. In my view, you cannot make clear decisions without these figures. Also, I think you should make an assessment of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. This is the so-called SWOT analysis. And brainstorm with the people around you to make the best of what you have at your disposal. The old saying is that businesses do not plan to fail, they simply fail to plan, which may well come home to roost over the next 12 months for those that have not put a plan in place. For help with the latter, or actually any of the above, could I suggest contacting your accountant, who should be able to help? But if they are unable to do so, or are just not available at this critical time, could I suggest that you need to invest by changing to one that can help and set out a way through the challenges of the time that's ahead? In fact, could I suggest that you or someone you know who could be vulnerable in these uncertain times make arrangements to see me and my colleagues for a free of charge first consultation to see how we can help? Okay, thank you, John. I wonder if there's any questions.
Is Julia with us, Himanshu?
No.
I've got a question or a
Right.
statement, really. It's not. I'm a commercial broker, so I help businesses find finance, as you know, Alan. And yes, I always recommend to go to their accountants as well, though some accountants haven't wanted to do the cash flows. So that's where I've been getting involved with the CBILS loans. So any applications over 50,000, I have been helping clients who are either not able to do it themselves, or the accountant's been too busy, or not wanted to get in, and then doing the rest of the package as well. It's not just the cash flow, it's working out in terms of how they've been affected and making that clear to the bank, and how their steps to redress are going to be taken. So yeah, definitely get in touch with your accountants, and don't let that put you off, because some of the documentation they want is quite, it's something that I can help with as well. But some clients are put off by the amount of stuff that needs to be produced for the civil loans to be looked at.
Okay, well, obviously that's what accountants are there for. It's not forgivable that they're not accessible at this time, in my view anyway.
I agree, yeah.